Hello everyone, I am Kenshin. Welcome to Talking About History. We all know that the Revolutionary War was the most important civil war in the United States, but few people know what role the Caribbean played in this civil war. Today we will learn about this period of history. Before the show starts, please subscribe, share, and turn on the little bell. This will help us grow faster. Without further ado, the show begins. Alright, folks, buckle up because we're about to set sail on a Revolutionary War adventure that's gonna take us from the cobblestone streets of Concord all the way to the sunny shores of the Caribbean. That's right, you heard me, Caribbean islands smack dab in the middle of the American Revolution. Now, let's rewind to 1492 when good old Columbus stumbled upon these tropical gems. Fast forward a few centuries, and suddenly everyone and their cousin is clamoring to get a piece of the Caribbean pie. We're talking Spanish, British, French, Dutch, you name it, they wanted in on that sweet, sweet sugar action. But when 1776 rolled around, it wasn't just about sugar anymore. Nope, it was about sticking it to the British Empire and potentially redrawing the colonial map. Picture this, Britain's got a whole bunch of colonies scattered across the Caribbean, and suddenly everyone else smells blood in the water. The French and the Dutch start throwing money and artillery at the American rebels like it's going out of style, all from their cozy Caribbean bases. But here's where things get really interesting. The Americans weren't just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. Oh no, they were causing chaos from the Caribbean too. Spies hopping from island to island, stirring up trouble, and American privateers wreaking havoc on British supply ships like modern-day pirates. According to Andrew O'Shaughnessy, the history guru, these sugar islands were so crucial that the British were actually considering ditching the whole North American conflict just to protect their Caribbean turf. Talk about a plot twist. The Caribbean becomes a nest for illicit trade and espionage. Folks, get ready for a tale of intrigue, smuggling, and tiny islands making big waves in the American Revolution. We're diving into the Caribbean, where the game of war was played just as fiercely as on the mainland. First up, we've got Martinique and Saint-Domingue. That's present-day Haiti for all you geography buffs. These French territories weren't just soaking up the sun, they were crucial to the American war effort. See, back in 1774, Britain slammed the door shut on imports of artillery and gunpowder to the colonies. Desperate times called for desperate measures, and the Continental Army was feeling the squeeze. But fear not, because here comes Charles Gravier, Comte de Vergennes, the French foreign minister with a plan. He gave the green light for French merchants to sneak supplies to the American rebels under the table. We're talking arms, money, even clothing, all funneled through Martinique and Saint-Domingue like some sort of revolutionary express delivery service. And get this, the French tossed a whopping 1.3 billion livres in credit and goods to the rebels. That's enough to make even the thriftiest rebel blush. But wait, there's more. Martinique wasn't just a stash house for rebel gear, it was a hotbed of espionage. William Bingham, a Philly native with a knack for rubbing elbows, set up shop there to cozy up to the French and snag some sweet aid for the cause. And let's not forget about the privateers, freelance ship owners commissioned by the Continental Congress to raid British ships like a bunch of maritime Robin Hoods. Thanks to Bingham's charm offensive, Martinique became the ultimate hideout for privateer booty, with French protection to boot. Now, on to St. Eustatius, the Dutch dynamo of the Caribbean. This tiny island might have been small in size, but it packed a punch when it came to arming the American militia. Neutral on paper but secretly cheering for the rebels, St. Eustatius became the go-to spot for American ships in need of a weapons upgrade. Dutch merchants were raking in profits like there was no tomorrow, and the British were none too pleased. In fact, Admiral George Rodney was so miffed that he declared St. Eustatius more dangerous than a fleet of enemy warships. But all good things must come to an end, and in 1780, the British finally caught wind of the Dutch shenanigans. They declared war on the Dutch Republic and swooped in to seize St. Eustatius, putting an end to the island's revolutionary antics. The Caribbean becomes a naval battleground. Alright, folks, Get ready to set sail on a high-seas adventure full of power plays, strategic maneuvers, and a whole lot of Caribbean drama. We're diving into the French side of the American Revolution, where the stakes are high and the French Navy is ready to rumble. Now, picture this. It's the late 1700s, and France is still licking its wounds from getting its butt kicked by the British in the 7 Years' War. But instead of throwing in the towel, they're plotting their revenge. When they officially jump into the American Revolution in 1778, they've got their eyes set on one thing: the Caribbean. According to James Pritchard, history guru extraordinaire, the French aren't messing around. They're not just in it to help out the Americans, they're out for blood. And they're not alone. Nope, they've managed to rope Spain into the mix by dangling the promise of snagging some sweet British territories like Jamaica. Now, you might be wondering why the Caribbean? Well, let me tell you. It's all about strategy, my friend. By forcing Britain to defend its Caribbean turf, the French are throwing a serious wrench in the British war machine. Just imagine trying to concentrate your forces on one front while your backyard is getting raided by your enemies. Not a pretty picture, huh? But the French aren't content to just sit back and watch the chaos unfold. Oh no. They're taking the fight to the British Navy, led by fearless admirals like Charles d'Estaing and François-Joseph Paul, Comte de Grasse. They're swooping in, conquering islands left and right, and giving the British a run for their money. From St. Kitts to Barbados, the French are making their presence known, and the British are feeling the heat. With each victory, the French are inching closer to their ultimate goal: dominance in the Caribbean and a major blow to British pride. The French enable victory at Yorktown. Folks, grab your compasses and buckle up because we're heading back to the Caribbean for the grand finale of the American Revolution. It's all hands on deck as Admiral de Grasse and his crew set sail for glory. Picture this. Tobago's been taken, the British are scrambling to play catch-up, and de Grasse is sitting pretty with a fresh batch of troops and a boatload of cash from Cuban merchants. With the Spanish keeping the French territories safe, it's smooth sailing all the way to Saint-Domingue, where de Grasse docks to gear up for the big showdown. And boy, what a showdown it is. On August 5, with cannons blazing and spirits high, de Grasse and his crew set course for Chesapeake Bay, ready to make history. And make history they do. A month later, they swoop in like the cavalry, blocking the British from sending reinforcements to Lord Cornwallis and his beleaguered army at Yorktown. Fast forward to October 17, and it's game over for Cornwallis. Outnumbered, outgunned, and outmaneuvered, he throws in the towel and surrenders to General George Washington, sealing the deal for American independence once and for all. But the Caribbean's role in the Revolution doesn't end there, oh no. From the first shots fired in 1775 to the final battles in 1783, the Caribbean was the beating heart of the war effort. It was a battleground where European powers duked it out, pushing funds and ammo to American rebels while fighting for dominance in the New World. And let's not forget the ripple effect. The revolution sparked fires of rebellion in territories far and wide, from Haiti to Venezuela, igniting the political careers of revolutionaries like Toussaint Louverture and Francisco de Miranda. It was a time of upheaval, of debate, and of dreams of democracy that still echo in the halls of power today. So there you have it, folks. The Caribbean's crucial role in the American Revolution, where islands became battlegrounds and history was made on the high seas. So next time you're soaking up the sun on a tropical beach, just remember, there's a whole lot of history beneath those crystal clear waters. What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments. See you in the next episode.